You're standing in the Hypogeum beneath the Colosseum. Above you, 50,000 Romans are screaming for blood. The stone walls around you are covered in something dark. You tell yourself it's just moisture. You know better. Picture this. The year is 112 after Christ. You're a condemned prisoner named Marcus, a former legionary who refused an order he believed was murder. They called it desertion. The sentence came 3 days ago. Your cellmate is a woman named Livia. She's 19 years old. She was accused of adultery with a senator's son who wanted to marry her. The husband she never loved decided execution was preferable to divorce. Think about that. Here's what you need to understand about Roman arena executions. These weren't just killings. They were theatrical performances of suffering designed to demonstrate absolute power over the condemned. The Romans didn't just want you dead. They wanted your death to teach a lesson everyone in those stands would remember forever. If you believe the documented records of history's most brutal systems must be exposed, consider liking this video and subscribing. Your support unearths more accounts from the darkest corners of the Roman Empire. Act 1. The preparation. The door to your cell opens at dawn. A guard enters with 2 others. They're not hostile, not kind, just efficient. Time to make yourselves beautiful for the crowd, one says. Here's what most people don't know. The condemned weren't just thrown into arenas. They were prepared, costumed, made part of elaborate narratives. The night before, you couldn't sleep. Livia cried for hours, then went silent. That silence was worse than the crying. You tried to comfort her. Perhaps they'll make it quick, you said. She looked at you with eyes that had already accepted the truth. They don't want quick, she whispered. They paid for a show. She was right. You and Livia are taken to a preparation chamber. The room smells of oil, sweat, and something metallic. There are 3 other condemned prisoners already there. 2 men, 1 woman. Their eyes are hollow. You recognize one, a Christian named Tertius. You served with his brother in Germania. He nods at you but doesn't speak. The room has tables covered with costumes, props, makeup. This isn't an execution facility. It's a theater backstage. An older man approaches. He's called a designator, a stage manager for executions. His job is to ensure your death entertains properly. You, he points at you, will be Prometheus. You, he points at Livia, will be Daphne. Think about the precision of that cruelty. Greek myths transformed into Roman executions. Your suffering dressed up as divine punishment. They begin the preparations. For you, they build a wooden frame shaped like a mountainside. For Livia, they prepare something else entirely. What happens to Daphne in the myth? She asks you quietly. You know the story. Apollo pursues her until the gods transform her into a tree to save her. You don't have the heart to tell her what you suspect. The Romans won't give her that mercy. By mid-morning, you're both ready. You're chained to the wooden frame. Livia is dressed in a thin costume, painted to look like bark and leaves. Why the costumes? You ask the designator. He smiles. The crowd expects a show. We give them mythology made flesh. This wasn't random cruelty. This was systematic theater. Act 2. The ascent. The platform beneath you begins to rise. You hear the roar before you see the light. 50,000 voices hit you like a physical force. The Colosseum spreads out before you, tier after tier of faces screaming for your death. You're locked on your frame, position center arena. Livia is 20 feet to your right, chained to a post. The announcer's voice booms across the sand. Citizens of Rome, behold the price of defying divine and imperial will. Prometheus, who stole fire from the gods, shall have his liver devoured for eternity. Daphne, who spurned a god's love, shall face the beast her rejection summoned. The crowd roars approval as. Think about what this means. These people, senators, merchants, soldiers, families, are here at 9 in the morning, specifically to watch you die slowly. Some brought food. Children are present. This is their entertainment. From the gates below, you hear scraping metal. The beast doors are opening. For your Prometheus execution, they've chosen a bear. Not just any bear, a North African brown bear starved for 3 days. Here's what makes this especially sinister. The bear isn't trained to kill quickly. It's trained to eat. The chains holding you are positioned, so your abdomen is exposed but you can't move. The frame is just high enough that the bear has to stand to reach you, just low enough that it can. For Livia's Daphne execution, something else emerges. A bull. Massive horns, sharpened points. She begins to scream. Act 3. The machine of suffering. The bear reaches you first. You smell it before you feel it rot and hunger. It rises on hind legs. Paws on the wooden frame. You can see its eyes. There's no malice there. Just hunger. The first swipe of its claws opens your side. The pain is beyond anything you've experienced. You scream. The crowd roars louder. Here's the documented horror from sources like Marshall and Seneca. These executions were timed to maximize suffering. The bear doesn't go for your throat. It goes for your abdomen, specifically where the liver would be. That's the whole point of the Prometheus myth. Medical analysis of these descriptions suggests the condemned could remain conscious for 10 to 15 minutes. The bear, trained and starved, would eat slowly. Methodically, you look toward Livia. You can't help it. The bull has reached her. She's pressed against the post, nowhere to run. The trainer behind the gates, you can see him through the bars, uses a long prod with a heated tip. He touches the bull's hindquarters. The animal charges. Think about the engineering of this cruelty. The post Livia is chained to is wrapped in cloth. The cloth is soaked in a scent that attracts the bull. She can't get away from it. The bull hits the post again and again. The first impact breaks her arm. You hear the snap even over the crowd. The second tears her costume. By the third, she stops screaming. Not because the pain has stopped, because she has no air left to scream with. The crowd is standing now, cheering each impact. If this documented horror doesn't move you to understand how power operates, you might be missing the lesson thousands died to teach. Act 4. The bureaucracy of death. Here's what you need to understand. This wasn't chaotic violence. This was systematized execution with detailed planning. The designator who prepared you had an entire office. Records from Pompeii show execution coordinators tracking costs. Cost of animals: bears, 300 denarii. Lions, 500 denarii. Cost of costumes: myth-based executions, 50 denarii per condemned. Cost of training animals: 3-4 weeks minimum. Salary of trainers, guards. Announcers: archaeological evidence from beneath amphitheaters across the empire reveals elaborate pulley systems. These systems could raise and lower platforms, rotate condemned prisoners, release animals with precise timing. The execution you're experiencing was designed by engineers. From the spectators' seats, senators are taking notes. These executions serve political purposes. Your death as Prometheus sends a message. Defy authority, suffer eternally. Livia's death as Daphne sends another. Reject powers, advances, face destruction. Everything is symbolic. Nothing is random. The bear's claws dig deeper. You can feel it now inside you. Pulling. The crowd is chanting something. You can't make out the words. Your vision is blurring. You manage to turn your head slightly. Livia is no longer moving. The bull has stopped charging. The trainer behind the gate is unhappy. She died too quickly. He's lost part of his bonus for insufficient spectacle. That detail comes from actual Roman administrative records. Trainers were paid based on how long the condemned lasted. Think about that. There was a financial incentive for your suffering to continue. Act 5. The silence. The bear's weight on your chest makes breathing impossible. You're still conscious, still aware. The crowd's roar has become a distant sound. Like waves, you think of your cohort, the men you served with, the order you refused to massacre a village of civilians. You made the right choice. You know you did. But right choices don't spare you from this. The last thing you see clearly is the imperial box. Emperor Trajan sits there, barely watching. He's in conversation with someone, laughing. Your execution, your entire death is background noise to his lunch discussion. That's the point. You don't matter. Your suffering is ambient entertainment. The bear pulls something vital. You feel your body shutting down. The crowd sounds disappointed. Only 12 minutes. Someone near the front complains. They were hoping for more. Here's what haunts me about this story. Marcus and Livia weren't exceptional cases. During the Colosseum's 400-year operational period, historians estimate between 400,000 and 700,000 people died in Roman arenas. Not all died this way, but tens of thousands did. Mythological executions became so popular that guidebooks existed. A papyrus fragment found in Oxyrhynchus lists preferred myths for entertaining executions. Prometheus liver-eating, Daphne bull or boar, Orpheus torn apart by beasts, Icarus dropped from heights, Hercules burned alive, each myth carefully selected to maximize symbolic impact and crowd engagement. The Colosseum closed in 523 after Christ, but the methods, the precision, the bureaucratization of torture, they didn't disappear. They evolved. Different cultures, different names. Same fundamental truth. Power doesn't just kill its enemies. It makes their deaths into lessons, into warnings, into entertainment. The question isn't whether the Romans were uniquely evil. They weren't. The question is what it says about human nature that 50,000 people could watch Marcus and Livia die and cheer. That children could witness systematic torture and learn to find it normal. That an entire civilization could build engineering marvels specifically to optimize suffering. The Colosseum still stands. You can visit it today, walk the same tunnels where the condemned waited, stand on the arena floor where tens of thousands bled into the sand. And when you stand there, ask yourself this: what systems of suffering exist in our world right now that future generations will visit with the same horror? What are we cheering for that history will judge? The stones of the Colosseum hold memories of screams that no longer echo, but the capacity for systematic cruelty, the ability to bureaucratize horror, to engineer suffering, to make torture into theater that hasn't been buried with Rome's empire. It's just waiting for the next civilization to pick up the tools and rename the games. If this exposed something you've never heard before, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications, because we're going to keep uncovering the systems of control that history tried to erase. Drop a comment with your thoughts, and I'll see you in the next investigation. The machine didn't die in 523 after Christ. It just changed its name.